shoulder health. Let's talk about that real quick. I'll try to do my best to keep this a little bit short and later make a longer video about it where I demonstrate stuff. If you ever had or do have shoulder issues and you like to lift weights or strength train, and or maybe you don't even strength train, you've injured your shoulder before somehow playing a sport or doing something else, I will go over a quick routine on how to bulletproof your shoulders. So here's how it goes. There's something called myofascial release, and this is when you do, it's equivalent of a deep tissue massage on yourself, and you can use a foam roller, you can use these little lacrosse balls that are made of rubber and they're really hard, about the size of a tennis ball. But what you want to do is, before you do anything, you want to make sure you put it against the wall and you massage out this trapezius muscle back here, right? It goes down to about midpoint in your back, and you want to lean your body weight on it and roll up and down. So you're going to bend your knees a little bit and roll up and down. So you're just rolling out any knots or adhesions you have in the muscle. And then you want to proceed and do the same thing in the front on the pecs, but you want to roll out sideways, laterally, right? And again, against the wall, and you're rolling left to right. You want to do this because a lot of the times, depending on, your posture, how you sleep, other various reasons, injuries in the past, you may have knots or adhesions in the muscle or in the fascia tissue in the back and the chest. And these areas are very important for the shoulder joints to work properly. And you have your shoulder blades in the back that are called your scapula, and those glide as you move. If I move my arms up or if I move my arms down, different positions, the shoulder blades are going to glide. So if you're doing shoulder presses or, pulling the weight towards yourself, these things move. When you have restrictions in the pecs, in the trapezius muscles of the back, it's going to cause the scapula or the shoulder blades to not move properly, and all the pressure and all the weight's going to go into this rotator cuff, which is a very small muscle that actually keeps your shoulder joint in place, right? It keeps it's just basically the head of the shoulder in the joint in place. So your humerus goes into your shoulder, and it's very shallow, as opposed to your hip joint, which is very, very deep. It's like a ball and socket joint, very deep. You don't have as much movement. Whereas your shoulder, you can move your arm pretty much, all the way around if you want. So the only thing keeping that in place is the rotator cuff, which is a very small muscle. And for that, in order to strengthen the inside of the joint, you want to do something called shoulder rotations. They're external rotations. So I'll show you a quick example. You get very light dumbbells, like about 3 pounds, 5 pounds, somewhere around there. Even 2 pounds is fine if you're just starting. And you keep your elbows about shoulder height, and you rotate back this way. You rotate back. So you're externally rotating the shoulder joint, right? And then another way you do it, a different position, is you lie on your side. So if I was on the floor right now and this is the floor, I'm basically going to be in this position here, and I'm going to be rotating in this direction, like that. So I'm going against gravity. Or you can stand up and you can grab a cable from the cable machine, right? You grab onto the cable, and then you can rotate this way, right? Rotate this way, like that. And basically the cable is going this way, right? And the cable is going this way, and you're pulling against it. So it's right here and it's traveling this way, right? Like that. So you can also put the pulley on the floor, and the cable is down that way, and you're rotating back this way. So you're just doing this, right? So that's how you work your rotator cuff, the inside of the joint, because you see a lot of people doing raises, you see a lot of people doing shoulder presses, but you don't see a lot of people doing the rotations, right? So what do we have so far? We have the deep tissue massage on yourself, which is called myofascial release on the chest and on the trapezius muscle. And then you have rotations, which, by the way, I didn't mention, but you're going to do about 2 to 3 sets of only about 15 reps. That's it, no more. You don't have to go heavy. If 3 pounds feels like enough, it feels like enough. And if your form starts going really bad and you're trying to do this and you start elevating your shoulder while you're rotating, then stop. Just try to keep your shoulder down while you rotate back, and everything's lined up, just like that. You don't want to start doing this and all of a sudden you start elevating your shoulder, or you're trying to get it up and you start doing this kind of thing. You don't want to do that, okay? So rolling out first, then you have your external rotations, and then next comes the shoulder raises, right? So instead of going to a shoulder press of any kind, dumbbells, barbell, you're actually going to do your shoulder raises first. This is a common mistake that I see plenty of people doing, and I think it's actually very important that people know this, and I think a lot of people don't know this. Even people have been lifting a long time. You get your raises in first. So you're going to get your dumbbells, and you're going to raise your arms about shoulder height with your elbows slightly bent. They're not going to be locked out, because if they're locked out, the weight's going to go more to the elbow joint. So you have a slight bend, and you're going to raise up to about shoulder height when you do it, okay? You can do it out to the side like this. You can do it to the front like this, or you can do it in between the two, like in here. I prefer in between the two because you're going to get the front and the lateral portion of the deltoid of the shoulder. And now you have your reverse fly, because you don't want to forget this little muscle back here. It's the rear delt, right? It's the small little muscle right back here. And for that, you have several exercises you can do. One of them being cable reverse flies. Let me just get this mic in my pocket. So with the cable reverse fly, I guess I'll sit for this one. You're going to be here, and instead of pulling back straight this way, just like you'll see most people do, what I found is if you have shoulders that are really irritated, or you've had a bad injury in your shoulder, it actually irritates it. It won't irritate it if you put the position of the pulley up high. So when you grab the handles, you're pulling at a downward angle, but you're ending up about shoulder height, maybe a little bit lower, somewhere around there. And again, elbow slightly bent, because if you extend your arm all the way, you turn it into a tricep extension, as opposed to you want to work back here, not the triceps, okay? So you keep the elbows slightly bent. So you get in your reverse flies, and that's going to also be, the shoulder raises and reverse flies are going to be about 3 to 4 sets each, okay? And 12 to 15 reps. Starting with a lighter weight first on the first set, and you're going to progressively go heavier. So maybe the first set you do 5 to 8 pounds, second set you do 10 to 12 pounds, third set you do 15, fourth set you do 20 or 25. It depends how strong you are, but you want to start where it actually feels kind of light, so you want to get the blood in the joint. Another version of reverse flies, if you don't have a cable machine or rubber bands to do it like I told you, you can do the bend over dumbbell reverse fly. So you're just standing up. I'll show you right here. You're just going to bend forward in this position, and remember that other video I told you about where you're going to keep your abs tight whenever you're putting pressure on your back, and you will raise up your arms in this direction like that, okay? And you can actually do it how I just explained with the cable, where you're going at this angle. So if you're doing a bend over version, see if you can see my back from here, then you can actually do it kind of at a slight angle this way, and instead of going straight out to the side this way, you can actually come back a bit this way with your arms still out. Your arms are still, they're not like next to my side, they're kind of out this way, but you're actually coming back like that, as opposed to out to the side this way, okay? That's going to irritate the shoulders a lot less. Or I should say it's not going to irritate the shoulders, because sometimes regular reverse flies can irritate your shoulders. So what are we looking at here now? We have self-myofascial release, right, with the ball, just doing that, getting rid of those restrictions, rolling out. Then we have the rotations, right, up here, down by your side like that. And then we have the raises, right, shoulder raises, dumbbells. And then we have reverse flies, where you're pulling on the cable down this way. And then next, we can start doing the shoulder press. And the shoulder press, I'm going to say I only recommend for people that their shoulders are not rounded forward, right? So if I had a client and their shoulders were already kind of in this position already, and we haven't done much and they're already kind of like this, I wouldn't even give them a shoulder press, because if they're already rounded like this, when they go try to press up, they're only going to be able to press up to about here. Because go ahead and try that. Round your shoulders and then see how high you can raise your arm. pretty much as far as I can go if I'm really trying to round my shoulder. Now, if I bring my shoulders back, like here, and then I lift up, I can go all the way up, right? No problem at all. So, got to get that out of the way, right? So, for the people that don't have problems and they can actually raise their arms overhead, like no issues at all, I recommend doing a barbell. So you can have the barbell in front, right here, right? As opposed to a lot of people start out here. And when you push up, your arms are going to your elbows are going to automatically come out at the top. That's just kind of the natural movement, right? So you do not want to start wide. And if you do have dumbbells, you don't want to start off wide like this, okay? The shoulders don't work that way. You're going to put a lot of pressure on that joint. You're going to irritate it and probably injure it. You still want to come out in front like you're creating kind of a shelf. It's going to look like this a bit, okay? And then from here, you're going to push up. Obviously, you're going to avoid your face, and then you're going to go right overhead, just like that, okay? And that's how you safely work the shoulders. You get that little routine in, and your shoulders are going to be close to bulletproof, assuming you're not doing other exercises that are putting strain on them in some awkward, weird position. So if there's an exercise you're doing outside of those things I'm talking about for another body part, and you always notice like, oh, my shoulder always feels a little irritated, or like incline bench presses, or your feet elevated push-ups so your head's kind of going down, anything like that, or handstands, or anything like that, I would say find another variation, find a different grip, find another exercise, because just keeping an exercise in the program that keeps your shoulders irritated or feels like causes a little bit of discomfort while you're doing it can be the reason why your shoulders never get better, and you always have some kind of shoulder pain or discomfort or tightness just all the time. So yeah, just keep those things in mind, and I'm going to make another video later that's a lot longer than this one, getting into great detail with actual dumbbells and barbell and all that kind of stuff. But this is just kind of a overview of how to keep your shoulder, how to get them healthy and how to keep them healthy, and pitfalls and things that people don't pay attention to or don't know. But all right, take care. Until next time, I will talk to you later.